Greetings, what's going on, everybody? It's your brother Tanisio Natana Sayanima, representing Nature's Candy Farms. And today I wanted to make a video about equipment maintenance. And so there can be many different ways that you can perform that particular task. In this particular video, I'm going to be focusing on vehicles because, as we all know, we need them to pick up supplies. We need them to actually take our product to market if you're a market gardener. And in the case of me, I just need my vehicle all around for everything I just mentioned and above and beyond that. So that particular maintenance that we all know our vehicles require on a fairly regular basis is an oil change. And so today I'm going to go through the steps on how you do that. If you've never done an oil change before, you're probably going to be shocked at just how easy it is. And you might even reconsider if you're going to go to your local mechanic to do such an easy task moving forward into the future. Whatever the case may be, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so now that we've propped the actual vehicle up onto the ramps, this allows me to actually access the undercage of the vehicle so that I can get to the oil pan, which is where the old oil is housed. And so what we want to do is actually drain the old oil out of the oil pan. This is the actual oil pan itself, and this is the bolt that we actually unscrew that allows us to drain the oil out. So once we've drained all that oil out, then we replace the bolt. We screw it in just tight enough by hand so that if we give it an extra crank with a ratchet, it's loose enough that it can be taken off again in the future, but it's not so tight that it's just on there permanently, because we also don't want to damage the actual oil pan by over twisting the actual bolt. Next, we'll actually take off the oil filter, and then we'll drain it out, replace it with a brand new filter, and then very similar, we're going to hand tighten it until we can't tighten it anymore by hand, and then we'll take a ratchet and just twist it about a quarter turn so that, again, it's not too tight. And then last but not least, we'll actually change out the old oil with some new oil so that we have a fresh batch of oil to drive on for the duration that that oil is rated for. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so now that we've actually taken the old oil out of the vehicle and we have replaced the old oil filter with a new one, next thing we need to do is actually replace the old oil with new oil. There is one more step that is typically done every so often when you do an oil change, and that is you actually change the air filter. We're not going to do that today because, as I mentioned, that is a periodic activity. You probably do it about once every 3 to 4, if not even more, oil changes. I changed my air filter the last time I did an oil change, so I know it's in good shape. However, if you ever want to check your air filter, just know that it's normally going to look like a white fabricy color when it's brand new, and then over time, as it begins to gather sediment, then it starts to get brown and even as dark as black. If it's gotten to that point, you definitely want to change it out. It's as simple as just pulling the housing off, taking the air filter out, putting a new one in, and clipping the housing back together. But for today, since all we're going to do is actually put new oil in, let's talk about that step. So the next thing you want to pay attention to is the actual viscosity rating of your oil. That is the actual thickness rating of that oil. How you find that out is you simply pull the oil cap off. And so if you notice on my oil cap, it's actually rated as a OW20, as you can see there. And so that particular viscosity is the viscosity that I need to consider when I buy oil. And so as you can see here, my actual container says OW20 on it as well. Next, you want to put a clean funnel in place. One little extra tip is that make sure that your funnel actually has a little screen in the bottom of it there. Hopefully you all can see that. And that screen prevents any debris from getting into the actual engine when you pour oil into it. You put that actual funnel in place, twist your cap off, and then you begin to pour the oil into the container. This is a 5-quart container. My particular vehicle takes 4 quarts, and so every time I do an oil change, I will have an extra quart remaining, and then when I get to my 5th oil change, I'll actually have 4 quarts saved up from previous oil changes that I can use in that particular oil change, and I don't have to buy any extra oil. So we're going to let it pour until it gets to about 4. And then we check, yep, it's got about a quart remaining. So we cap that off, save that for later. And then we just simply let the oil drain into the engine. And like I said, you know, that's it. You take a bolt off, you take an oil filter off, you take an air filter off every now and then. You put new oil in and you're done. So hopefully you all were inspired by that. Again, for you gardeners or farmers out there who like to maintain your own equipment, this is a great way to save money and just be able to also monitor your vehicle. If you know your vehicle better than anyone else, it's going to be very hard for things to just get out of hand without you knowing about it. So with that being said, if you have any questions, hit me up at naturescandyfarms@gmail.com. But I'm out, y'all. Peace. Let's grow together. All right, family, this is a little bonus footage for those of you all who are Lexus owners. I'm going to show you how you actually turn the maintenance required light off. If you haven't figured out, that actually comes on every time you need an oil change. So don't be alarmed when you see that light. Now, I'm not here to tell you not to go get your vehicle looked at if you see that light, but trust me when I tell you, most of the time it's just related to your vehicle needing an oil change. So let me show you the simple method of turning that light back off. So as you see, my screen says maintenance required. And what you have to do to turn that light off is you actually change the setting at the bottom to trip A. And then after you've changed it to trip A, you turn the vehicle off as such. All right. Now, as you can see, it reads the odometer setting. However, I'm going to hold that button and then I'm going to turn the vehicle into power mode, not necessarily all the way on, but just as if I wanted to let the vehicle just simply run off the battery, and then you'll see what happens. Boom. And as you see, now that signal has gone away. And so as you can see, that's yet another quick and simple way to maintain your own vehicle. So again, I hope you all have enjoyed this footage. I'm out, y'all. Peace.